Well, it's been a festive time in France for a handful of team owners, most notably Jerry Ryan at Orica Green Edge. And our next guest hopes to be another Australian team owner with plenty of champagne corks to pop. It's a welcome to Michael Drapac. Nice to see you, Michael.
Welcome, Michael.
Hey, guys.
You own Team Drapac Pro Racing. Did it take a long time to come up with that name?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it did, yeah. I had to meditate on that for a couple of days. Yeah.
Now, on a serious note, I mean, you obviously have to pour lots of money into this sort of a project. People always look for a return on investment. Is there any as a team owner in your case?
Other than the love and the satisfaction of having a team and seeing riders develop, I think in Australia, I don't think you really do get a real commercial return on your investment. No, not in Australia.
It's a shame. Well, does it need more funding in general, and then so the burden's not so heavy then on team owners?
Yeah, I think we've got to look at how to get more funding into the sport, and I think that the TDU has a fundamental role to play in that. And I think at a deeper level, I think what troubles me is that the amount of riders which approach us, or to ride for our team, riders who are full time, probably half a grade below the big, riding in overseas, they can't earn a living. Yeah. And so I'd like to see money go into the sport. I think the TDU's got a fundamental role to play in it. And look, I think Australia could improve from where we are today.
I think Drapac really put themselves on the map when we saw Darren Lapthorne win the Australian Road Championships.
Yeah.
I know the program had been running for a couple of years already, but that was a really extraordinary performance by him. And then we've seen some fantastic performances both here and in Asia where you've sent the team. Can you name any highlights for you personally?
I think the two highlights for me, Bridie, were when Darren won the Australian title. I couldn't feel my feet on the ground. And then 2 years later when Peter McDonald backed it up. They're probably the big two highlights for me.
Just if I can jump in, that was a pretty extraordinary day. He was away with two professional men, Michael Rogers and Adam Hansen, who both rode for the same team, and people were saying, oh well, there's some random no-name guy with Michael Rogers and Adam Hansen, and he out-sprinted both of them.
Yeah, that was quite surreal for us. And yeah, there have been a few other days, but they're the two big ones in my memory.
What about some of your riders like Mitch Docker? He rode for you for a few years, and now has progressed on the Green Edge. He's a great bike rider.
Yeah, good bike rider. Mitch rode for us. Mitch started with us at 16, and Mitch is one of, I think, about 28 or 29 kids we put through university. Mitch graduated from uni, I think he was about 22, and then he went on to Skill Shimano, and from there he's gone to Green Edge. And he's a character, very lovable bike rider, Mitch, for a whole lot of reasons.
And one of the elements of your team is that you really wanted to encourage riders to study or have a part-time job or a trade, very different from the original programs that had existed in this country. Yeah,
Bridie, the genesis of it was that there are a whole group of riders in Australia, particularly the young elite. And I was always concerned about how young elite riders were developed under the conventional institute model. And so we had riders such as Mitch Docker, whose parents wanted him to obviously develop as a bike rider, but also wanted him to pursue his studies. And so we found there was a void there. Those sort of kids weren't accommodated. So initially we started off accommodating those bike riders who wanted, particularly the younger ones from about 16 to 18. And, we became a bit more ambitious and aspirational, so it developed from there.
Can I ask, as a question of scale, obviously you said it's hard for kids to earn a living here in Australia. Yeah. There's kind of no salary caps in the pro ranks in Europe, Nick, but there's a minimum wage for riders on teams?
There's a minimum wage in the Pro Tour, yeah. That's around 55.
There's no minimum wage in women's cycling, 70% of women race for $0. How come you never had a women's team, Michael?
We did.
Really? Who was in that team? Mrs. Simon Gerrans. And that way she could work for you as well?
Mrs. Simon Gerrans, yes, was on the team. We had riders like Tess Downing, and we did sponsor quite a few events. It was just difficult, and we had to make a decision, go one way or another. But I think that's a touchy topic, equity. Equity, and I don't think women get a fair go in sport. And there are other issues about racism. I mean, the whole sports agenda is I think at the end of the day, sport should reflect humanity, and I think there's a lot of improvement. We're doing, you know, I think Cycling Australia's doing a great job, but we've still got a long way to go. And I think gender balance, gender equity is one of them. You're
going to be Pro Conti next year. You've paid for that licence, which obviously costs you money, but it allows you access to different races. Why did you choose to do that?
We've applied. We haven't lodged the application. I think the deadline, Bridie, is it's a couple of months away. But it's, you know, you have to lodge a bank guarantee. We've been there before. It's not financially too onerous. We did it because we've been around 10 years now, and we've always had an idea that we'd eventually ride the big races in Europe. And so I made a decision. Our business has expanded very substantially in America, very successfully. And so I said, I'm going to bite the bullet, and rather than waiting for a sponsor to come on board, I said, no, I'll do it. But we've got the financial capacity to do it, and we'd like to consolidate ourselves as a very serious pro-continental team, and we'll see what goes from there.
All right, we've got to run, Michael. We appreciate your passion. I know Cycling Australia does as well, and we wish you all the best. Got some goodies for you as well to take out. Would you, Nick, please?
We've got a Drapac Green Edge package here, mate.
Thank you, Nick, mate.
Nice cap and a nice bottle of plonk.
Well, Green Edge, I'll be wearing this with pride. And hello, Jerry.